Salutations, Legion of Doom. Welcome to Podcast of the Storm, where socially awkward outcasts, crazy weirdos, and all-around nerds convene to talk and debate all things pop culture. With me, as always, is my co-host, the nerdy occultist, aka the authenticator, Dalton L. Mortimer.
Hello, everybody. It's been a long day. Forgive me if I'm not energized.
Same here. And our second co-host, the primordial source of evil in comics, Corrupt, will hopefully be joining us sometime soon. But,
Or ever.
Yeah. And I'm your host, / Time I want to be the Brainstormer Pop Culture. How is everyone doing tonight?
I cannot speak for our audience, but this is at the very least going to be an interesting week because there's a lot to go through this week.
Yes, actually. Excuse me. It was actually a fairly kind of eventful week. Not for us, mostly because we tend to look for more things outside of standard mainstream media that most YouTubers cover. Probably why we don't get a lot of views.
Well, that, and also I can't imagine very many people are looking for that stuff that we do, but
Fair enough.
Those that do seem to enjoy it, so we do it.
Hello to Helen29. Good to see you too.
How long has it been since Tillian was in the chat? I feel like it's been a while.
I think a few weeks.
Anyway, shall we commence with the stupid?
We shall. While I open the first article and wait for it to load. Probably should have done it before we went on.
Probably, but no one ever accused us of being explicitly professional.
Yeah, if you're coming here for professionalism, wow.
Yeah, it's like the old Aladdin clip. The doors are located here, anywhere. Robin Williams Genie was, and still is, a treasure. Will Smith Genie, less so. Though, it could have been worse.
Right, and our first article is a Screen Rant article. These aren't like totally bad, but they got their problems.
Yeah, there's a lot of material in this one, I have a feeling, because the very premise of the article makes me want to roll my eyes, and I can't imagine it's going to get any better with their justifications.
5 Ways Birds of Prey was better than Joker, and 5 Ways it was worse. At least they're acknowledging that Birds of Prey has flaws.
Well, true, but they do this kind of comparison list with a lot of things, and it's just kind of a format. So I'd be more interested in how genuine are they going to be here, and how much essentially apologetics for Birds of Prey are they going to end up doing. I'm betting that they're probably going to be a little bit disingenuous when it comes to praising Joker, and that they're going to heap unnecessary amounts of praise on Birds of Prey. But you know, mark me now, quote me later. I
Right.
guess.
For the record, we have reviewed Birds of Prey, and that was about 2 weeks ago.
Yes, it
Okay.
was not good, surprising no one.
I said it was a meth film, so those are my feelings on it.
I actively hated it a lot more than Brainstormer did.
Well, the only two
I mean,
good.
it's far from the worst thing ever, but then again, I've watched, I own all of Ed Wood's movies, so that should tell you my threshold when it comes to bad moviedom.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is written by Jason Will Wajnar.
Wasn't he the guy who wrote one of the top 10 lists that we were very, very verklempt by?
I'm not sure. We have covered a lot of those.
I,
This
I I'm pretty sure he was one of the ones that misunderstood his own premise a lot of the time. We'll see if that is a consistent pattern with him.
this was published February 17th, 2020. So the subheader is with two Big C movies out within months of each other, there are bound to be comparisons. He miscapitalized. He did not capitalize the W in we. We detail five ways Birds of Prey is better or worse than Joker.
Okay, I very much disagree that Birds of Prey is even in the same league as Joker, but I am willing to entertain a disagreement. Make your arguments, sir.
Right. Okay, so down. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn stands as the first R-rated movie within the DCEU.
And
No, but it's not the first R-rated movie within the DCEU.
Joker is a different continuity. It's not the
No.
DCEU.
No, the original version, the extended version of BVS, technically is
Oh
R-rated.
yeah, that was R-rated too. But unfortunately, DC decided to shoot themselves in the foot because let's be honest, the Warner Brothers executives are the biggest super villains in the DC universe at this point.
True. But it is not the first mature movie based on a popular character from DC Comics. Okay, that I agree with, and I retract my previous statement.
Mm-hmm.
That distinction belongs to Joker, which came out in October 2019. The two
Okay.
films.
Guys, do you not remember Watchmen existed? And both of the Burton Batman movies and V for Vendetta, all of those were quote unquote mature. I don't know what you're getting at here, but you used a qualification, and then that qualification applied to like 50 other things than the one you were aiming it at.
Well, it does say it's not the first mature movie.
But then it goes on to say that distinction belongs to Joker, implying that Joker is the first one.
Okay, that is fair. That's true.
Which is stupid because Watchmen, V for Vendetta, Burton Batman movies, and so on and so on and so on. Even Superman Returns was a bit darker and more serious in tone than the Christopher Reeve movies, even though that movie was a mixed bag.
Mm-hmm.
I do maintain that it was better than Man of Steel, though.
The two films are vastly different in tone and ambition. That is, yes, I agree that, but
Yes,
two very unique
that is objectively true. They are vastly different movies.
However, that in terms of effectiveness and uh, successfulness, that is subjective.
Um, is it though?
Well, I
At,
mean,
at,
for us, I'm
at,
sure.
at least not okay. On I can think of at least four metrics that Joker objectively wins on. The metric of finances, Joker kicks the ass of Birds of Prey and leaves it in a dumpster. Um, in terms of like critical praise and Oscar worthiness, Joker wins because it got 2 Oscars and like 11 nominations. In terms of like cultural impact, considering there were literal like um protests that were inspired by Joker, and of course the mountains worth of articles in the media that were saying that Joker was going to cause some kind of apocalypse or some shit. And of course, in terms of like cultural impact and like people's both affinity for the movie and like its ability to generate memes. I mean, people have been saying we live in a society pretty much a month before Joker even was out because of that thing. So, and of course, the now infamous shenanigans with the Joker stairs and the line you get what you fucking deserve. So, yeah, I don't think successfulness is subjective in this regard, at least not in any of the largest metrics conceivable. Like
Well,
as
no,
objective.
I meant successfulness and execution.
Well,
Subjective
yeah, yeah.
from person to
I guess I guess in terms of the execution. Although if you're judging the quality of the execution by the impact it had, then Joker wins. But I guess you don't necessarily have to uh, qualify it by that. So fine.
person. Okay.
Anyway, moving on.
The two films are vastly different in tone and ambition, but deserve recognition for trying to break the mold. Trying.
Joker basically smashed the mold over its knee.
Yeah.
People are still reeing about that movie.
People are still reading over Ghostbusters 2016.
Well, different they in both cases though. The they in question with Joker is basically the modern media aristocracy. The they in question with Ghostbusters 2016 was people who give a shit about Ghostbusters.
Fair enough. Okay. One is a serious character study, while the other is a no holds barred black comedy where life is cheap and laughs are abundant.
Yeah. Also, side note, I don't think Birds of Prey broke very many molds because it was basically trying to be feminist Deadpool.
Seriously, just do Lady Deadpool. Not that hard.
Yeah, but yeah, in terms of movies that break the mold, Birds of Prey really, again, being as objective as possible. Um, there are so many movies that tried to fill essentially the same space as Birds of Prey. All the way back as far as like Jim Carrey's The Mask, people were doing the whole zany over the top cartoonish anti-hero thing. And of course, R-rated movies, R-rated comic book movies that are comedies released in February. Cough, cough, Deadpool. Anyone? Cough.
Yeah. Okay. They also have their respective pros and cons, many of which will be laid out below, as we detail 5 ways Birds of Prey is better than Joker and 5 ways it is worse. At the end of the day, they are both great viewing experiences, and the world is a better place for both of their existences.
A highly debatable sentiment there, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Yeah, I'll allow it for the sake of rhetoric, but I didn't feel the slightest bit enriched by the existence of Birds of Prey, and I do feel highly enriched by the fact that Joker exists.
I'm not
Still a
trying.
little salty that Joaquin was Joker and not Doctor Strange, but that's neither here nor there. And no, I'm not letting it go.
Number 10, A Way It Is Better, entertaining. Well, okay, full context. A Way Birds of Prey is better than Joker. It says entertaining.
Um, define your terms, please, so that I don't have to immediately head desk myself into a coma.
Okay, ready?
Proceed.
If one is looking for a fun time, Birds of Prey is a better bet than Joker. It has swifter pacing and is more jolly. One could argue on Joker's behalf, saying the movie is not meant to entertain because it is a dark, gritty film about a disturbed character pushed by
Oh,
society and
okay.
commit
No,
atrocious acts.
no.
I'm sorry, I had to finish that part.
Go
Proceed.
ahead. Okay, go.
No, I was done. That was like the paragraph I was reading. Just
Okay. Here's the thing. A movie doesn't have to be happy-go-lucky in order to be entertaining. Entertainment can come from things like visual style, um, relatability, the ability for its movie to, or the ability for art to generate like memes and stuff. Like some of the greatest quotes of all time have been from really dark movies. That doesn't mean they're not entertaining. Like, okay, I can think of at least 5 memes that came from Silence of the Lambs alone, and that is a R-rated psychological thriller starring a charismatic cannibal serial killer. Doesn't mean that Silence of the Lambs isn't entertaining. Happy-go-lucky and entertaining are not equivalent. Likewise, there are plenty of movies that are supposed to be all happy-go-lucky and positive and upbeat that are shit. Basically, any live action adaptation of a cartoon pretty much fits that category. It's supposed to be all happy and colorful, but it's also ugly as sin and very much draining. I I would rather take a bullet than watch the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies with Jason Lee in them ever again. So yeah, your definition of entertaining is highly suspect, and even being super charitable to you, um, the a failure to be entertaining does not entertainment make. Like you can make the argument the Joker wasn't entertaining, but at least it wasn't, by your definition, it wasn't trying to be. Whereas Birds of Prey very much was trying to be and failed on most every metric.
may I interject?
Yes.
Okay. Um, it brings up the swifter pacing and, well, yeah, the swifter pacing.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring up the problem that was a problem in the review we had done.
Yeah, because
That,
it doesn't actually let you sink your teeth into anything or care.
yeah, it's like it's too quick. And in there's just not enough smaller, quieter moments. So yeah, it's not entertaining on the fact that it doesn't give you anything to really be entertained. It's too quick. It's too
Yeah,
fast.
it makes you feel as though you're on Harley Quinn's supply of cocaine for most of the movie.
I
And
understood that reference.
that's not a yeah, and that's not a slight against like drug movies either, because one of the greatest and most entertaining drug related movies ever is Trainspotting, and half of the time that movie is haphazard and jarring because of its pacing. It's still one of the greatest movies ever made, or at least one of the most noteworthy movies ever made. I can understand why some people wouldn't like it, but I like it fine. Anyway, moving on.
Adversity.
And incidentally, Train Spotting also featured Ewan McGregor, so it really is comparing like to like in this case. Okay, go.
Adversely, just as many could say the movies that inspired it, like Taxi Driver and King of Comedy, are wildly entertaining while following similarly anomalous characters.
Yes, which undermines your own point about your own particular definition of entertaining. If you can consider Taxi Driver and King of Comedy entertaining, then why don't you consider Joker to be entertaining? Based on your own definition and the fact that you could consider Taxi Driver and King of Comedy entertaining, you need to meaningfully differentiate between King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, both of which heavily inspired Joker and Joker. Are you actually going to do that? Or are you just going to assert that despite being very, very similar movies, one of these is entertaining and the other is not because reasons? And do you understand why making a claim like Joker is not entertaining for no more reasons than essentially because I said so is kind of stupid and fatuous and really obnoxious?
Oh, hey, Dominic Powell is here. It's been a while, Dominic.
Hello.
Yeah, that is, huh. I can see, man. It's been a hell of a time.
Yeah, our audience fluctuates randomly for no adequately explained reason. Sometimes we get no people, sometimes it's just one person, and sometimes, like tonight, we get 2 or 3 people in the chat.
Remember that time we had 5?
I know, good times, good times. Well,
That was our peak.
actually, no. I think our peak was like 10 people. When we were doing the response to the Young Turks video on Joker, and Corrupt was here. I'm pretty sure we had like 5 people because it was Chrononaut, it was Ahsoka, it was Englentine, and I want to say there were like 3 other people, but I don't remember.
I can't remember. Anyway, number 9. Away Birds of Prey. Oh, he says, indeed it has. I've been busy with classes from college. College.
Ah, all too familiar with that.
Anyway, number 9, Away Birds of Prey is worse than Joker. Box office. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, that's objectively the case. I actually was thinking about this earlier today. As of this past weekend, Joker literally made like 10 times more than Birds of Prey did, because Birds of Prey is sitting at 173 million, I think, at the box office right now.
I mean, I wasn't really shocked.
Yeah, and Joker has literally made 1,072,000,000 at the box office. So yeah, roughly 10 times what Birds of Prey has made so far, Joker made. Almost as though that's the kind of movie you should be focusing on making or something, DC. But then again, what the fuck do I know?
Yeah. Birds of Prey is not an outright flop, but is not doing what the studio would like. Either off an $80 million budget, its domestic gross is so far less than $50 million, with an opening of about $33 million.
That and also $80 million is the low estimate for Birds of Prey's box office. A lot of people think it's either mid 80s or like in the 90s box office wise, which means that we'd have to make roughly 200 million to be considered a success, and or to even break even, and it hasn't yet. So depending on what exactly you think the budget is, it's either just barely making a profit or it's under breaking even. Meanwhile, Joker was made for considerably less money, between 55 and 60. No, I believe the overall, the actual budget when it finally came out was 62.5 million, and it made 1,072,000,000 as of now.
Neat.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it was gonna go past, even if it wasn't gonna be a flop, I knew it wasn't gonna make as much money as Joker, simply on the fact that it
Mhm.
it's not as it's not good. It's not as good as the Joker.
Yeah.
So it won't draw people in to watch the movie more, like
Yeah.
Joker did.
And it probably will alienate a fuck ton of people because of the divisive way it was handled. And
Yeah.
incidentally, as of this last weekend, it made 7 million at the domestic box office. So, assuming a relative like 50% drop in box office from week to week, which is the kind of the norm with big blockbusters, Birds of Prey is probably going to make less than 1 million by the week after next. So at the domestic box office at least. Worldwide, it'll make a little bit more than that. But even then, before the weekend, it was at like 157 worldwide, 157 million, and right now it's sitting at like 173 million. So it only increased roughly 20 million. And if 7 million of that was domestic, then that means it only made like 13 million overseas in the past weekend. Meanwhile, Joker again made 1 million over its production budget and then some, or 1 billion over its production budget and then some.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I like box office numbers. They're interesting.
Nerd.
You're goddamn right.
Worldwide numbers have picked up some of the slack, but it is nothing compared to Joker's monstrous run in theaters, where it became the first R-rated movie to rack up over $1 billion.
Yay.
Yep. Number 8. Away, Birds of Prey is better than Joker. Action. That's okay. Can I say something first, Don?
By all means.
Yeah. The fact is that Joker wasn't focused on doing action, and the action that was in the movie served the purpose of showing the depravity and just how terrible it can be in terms of violence and stuff. And also like the downward spiral of Arthur Fleck as the evil becomes more and more gruesome and stuff.
Yeah.
Also,
go ahead.
Birds of Prey, it's all supposed to be basically like just like a wacky cartoon kind of violence, but more gory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. You can go.
Okay. Further to Brainstormer's point, because I very much agree, and it's probably it's some of what I was going to say. The question is whether you want quantity of action or whether you want quality of action. Because just because there was more action per capita in Birds of Prey doesn't mean the action was better. Okay? The action that was in Joker was better, even though there was less of it. And even then, I don't know as you could say there was less of it, because given the tone of Joker and how dour and brutal everything was, there was kind of a specter of visceral action throughout most of the movie. And if you count the beatings as an action scene, then they might actually be significantly closer in just sheer amount of action than you'd think. And either way, it was handled better. So if we're measuring the action based on the metric of quality, then Joker wins. If we're measuring by quantity, then it's arguable and might even be a toss-up. So yeah, no. If we are to take this as a way that Birds of Prey is better than Joker, implying that we're supposed to grade it on qualitative grounds, then you fail, because Joker's action was better in that it served the plot, the story, the characters, and etc. more than the action in Birds of Prey, and in terms of how the action piece, the individual action set pieces were handled in terms of their staging and their choreography, Joker's still better. Because as much as I admire Chad Stahelski, he was basically given the job to just barely punch up most of the action scenes in Birds of Prey. Not to mention, in the scenes where Harley Quinn had to deal with guns and whatnot, the police were for whatever reason using rubber bullets, whereas the few gunshots there were in Joker were very much real in universe. There ain't no rubber bullets in Joker, because you get what you fucking deserve, and so on.
Yeah. So the reason is Chad Stahelski came in for reshoots as a second unit director to spice up some of the action scenes. The director of the John Wick series is known for his visceral fight sequences and choreography, and his reputation precedes him in Birds of Prey.
It's really not his best work.
Yeah, I don't think it has the quality as John Wick, unfortunately.
And there's a very good reason for that, and it has nothing to do with Chad Stahelski. It has everything to do with the fact that basically during reshoots, they called up Chad Stahelski and went, "Chad, save us! We fucked up this movie. If there's not good action in this movie, we'll be doomed." And Chad's response was essentially, "I will do what I can do." And unfortunately, he's a great action director, but for one thing, he wasn't put in charge of the movie. He was just put in charge of the action scenes. And for another thing, he was essentially brought in during reshoots. And as anyone in Hollywood can tell you, if the biggest impact you have on a movie is just working on shit during the reshoots, your impact on the overall project is going to be minimal to absent. And even if he could manage some great action scenes, they don't serve anything resembling a coherent narrative, and they don't really come across as coherent to each other. So, wrong. Again.
Yeah. Compare this to Joker. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay. Compare this to Joker, where nothing exciting happens until the end, where all the tension finally explodes.
Did you miss the train scene? Or the beating scene that happens like 5 minutes into the movie? Or the like fantasy sequences where he like does random shit? Like that. Again, I'm gonna have to ask you to define what you mean specifically by exciting. Because exciting can mean a lot of things unless you actually narrow down what you specifically mean by exciting. Are you actually going to define your terms, Jason?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to be a complete tool and just go essentially because I said so?
Granted,
my money's on the second one.
Granted, it is not an action movie and was never advertised as one. So one cannot be too hard on Todd Phillips' movie for not including any set pieces.
Then why the fuck? Why in a forest full of fuck? are you using this as a metric to say that Birds of Prey is better? If you yourself acknowledge that it's not a metric that you can judge Joker on, then you can't use it as a comparison statement. Okay. If we're judging movies based on the content of color, and we're comparing a black and white movie to a color movie, then it would be somewhat disingenuous to say that the black and white movie is worse in the metric of color, wouldn't it? Why? Because black and white movies don't have fucking color in them. And if you yourself acknowledge that there is nothing that you would qualify as action in Joker, which is stupid, but that's neither here nor there. If you yourself acknowledge that this is not a metric that can be used for comparison, then to use it as a metric for comparison is illogical and self-contradictory and just downright disingenuous wankery, sir. Basic building blocks of logic. Why do you even? Goddamn, people's illogic annoys me. Out of one end of his mouth, he says Joker doesn't have enough action in it, but in the other side of his mouth, not that we can actually judge it based on action. Then why are you fucking doing it? Moving on.
Okay. Well, before we do, Dominic Powell said a few things. I skipped watching Birds of Prey because it didn't have any resemblance to the original source material. The movie could have just been a solo Harley Quinn movie, and Big Bad beat Joker. Also, its marketing was objectively bad. Oh yeah, no.
You are correct, sir. And speaking as two people who saw the thing, you didn't miss much.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't actually pay for it because piracy, yo ho. But yeah, you didn't miss anything.
All right. Number 7. One of the ways Birds of Prey is worse than Joker, and you will agree with him on this. Dalton, look at the look of Gotham.
Correct for the most part. Let's see your reasoning, because even a true thing can be ruined by shit reasoning. So let's have you then.
All right. Joaquin Phoenix's character lives in a Gotham City resembling a late 70s New York. The movie was filmed in the 5 boroughs and prominently features several landmarks from the city, in addition to making frequent use of the metropolis's distinct subways. New York is a favorite shooting location for its picturesque nature.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Birds of Prey was filmed in Los Angeles, making for a different looking Gotham. I didn't know it was filmed in Los Angeles.
Honestly, I assumed most of it was just filmed on a soundstage, because nothing like distinctive, nothing particularly distinctive was in the city that made me think, oh, this is surely from this city.
I'll be honest, I thought either New York or Detroit. Not Los Angeles, though.
A version of Gotham based on Detroit would be dark as fuck.
Maybe we should have had. Maybe that should have been Ben Affleck's Batman movie.
Well, who knows? We're getting a new Batman franchise here shortly. Maybe they'll put some elements of Detroit in the new one.
Yeah.
But more on that later, because we have a whole series of stories on that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Los Angeles is fun and all, but nothing beats the legendary East Coast city where dreams are made. Yeah.
True, although I think most of what was good about the way Gotham was portrayed in Joker is because it didn't really focus on the standard New York landmarks. It was for the most part parts of New York that don't really get focused on in movies for the most part, thereby allowing Gotham to be unique and its own entity.
Yeah. Oh, well, this one's interesting. Number 6. A way Birds of Prey is better than the
Joker.
yeah. Thank you. God, I am totally spacing out right now. I'm sorry, folks. I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm running on about 3 hours of sleep. He's running on about 5, so we're not gonna be particularly gracious tonight with the coherence.
Yeah. All right. Joker is Joaquin. Oh yeah. Sorry. The way Birds of
Hello?
Joker. Oh, okay. I don't know what was up with that. Okay.
My internet is crapping out. I might have to disconnect and jump back in if it
Okay.
keeps like this.
Okay. Well, while Dalton is doing that, yeah. Um. So yeah. But so yeah, is apparently supporting roles. Uh. Huh. I would honestly say okay. There he is.
Okay.
Thank God he came back quick. I was stalling and I wasn't good at it.
And you were feeling that sensation of being on a stage in front of people with no one laughing?
I see what you did there. Right. Okay. So yeah. Apparently, Birds of Prey does supporting roles better than Joker. Personally, I think both kind of suck at supporting roles, but for Joker, it's more forgivable.
Well, the story in Joker was primarily about Arthur and how people related to Arthur. So, of course, in a story that has a primarily main character, especially in a character study, the supporting characters are going to get flustered. The problem being, Birds of Prey was supposed to be about a group of people, and hardly any of them got characterization. So I'm gonna have to call bullshit on this one too, because Birds of Prey was supposed to be about a group, and it primarily focused on one person, and even that one person didn't get good character development. So unfortunately, by virtue of the writing sucking in Birds of Prey, yeah, no. Even though Joker featured less supporting characters, the ones that it had were much better handled.
Yeah. Okay. Joker is Joaquin Phoenix's show all the way. Even though prominent performers like Robert De Niro and Zazie Beetz round out the cast, they are all in service of the central character. Yeah, that's kind of the point of really any story.
But particularly a character study.
Yeah. Birds of Prey stars Harley Quinn, but everybody else has their own unique story audiences see before they all come together.
Do
Huntress.
they? Huntress, I suppose, yeah, but
No. Huntress as the example of not, because she's barely in the movie.
like, yeah, most people exist either to service the plot or service gags in Birds of Prey. And let's be honest, even Harley's writing is not great. Like, how she tells the story out of order specifically because she's forgetful half the time. It's no wonder there's not really any narrative coherence to the movie.
Mhm. Um, Not a single member of the main crew feels left out, and the main villain gets plenty of time to shine in the spotlight as well.
By what criteria are you judging that? I want to know, because by what I would consider any reasonable metric, basically every character gets shortchanged in Birds of Prey,
Yeah.
including Harley.
Like, there's nothing to really attach yourself to them. There's nothing really to sympathize with them. I only enjoy Ewan McGregor's Black Mask simply because it's Ewan McGregor and he plays it up. He's
Yeah,
ham.
he's having fun with it, but by that same metric, Joaquin Phoenix and basically everyone in the Joker movie had fun with their roles. They were just having fun hamming it up in dramatic acting positions.
Mm-hmm. As far as balancing a cast goes, Birds of Prey gets the win. Does it though? Does it?
But okay, the problem you're having here is, once again, it's kind of like with the action point. Yes, there was definitively more action in Birds of Prey, but it was worse handled, and even that is arguable. Same thing with characters. Yes, there were definitively more characters in Birds of Prey, but no character in Birds of Prey got off anywhere near half as well as Joker did. So if we're going based on quality, and we must be, because this is a list of how something is better, and that means judging based on qualitative measures, you are wrong. The overuse of various characters in Birds of Prey does not make for good characterization. Just because there are more people in a room doesn't mean those people are more well taken care of. It's kind of like if I stuff 10,000 people into a cubicle and I starve them for a week, there are definitively more people in that room, but they are not well taken care of. Whereas if I put one person in a single room and I pamper their every need for 2 weeks, there's less people in the room, but the people that are in that room are much better taken care of than the 10,000 people who are starving to death. More characters doesn't necessarily mean better characterization. And in fact, it can mean the opposite, because it can often mean less time devoted to each character.
So, moving on, because that was the last of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Birds of Prey. Why Birds of Prey is worse than the Joker. Reason number 5. It doesn't have as significant a message. Also, Ahsoka Tano Gaming is here. Hello, Ahsoka.
Hey, it's okay.
Yeah. Thoughts on that?
Okay, I'm of two minds on that, because if we're judging based on message, then yes, I think Joker has the better message. But as I so often say, a movie or a piece of art doesn't necessarily need a message in order to be good. And if you shoehorn a message into a movie that doesn't need it, then you've not actually done a service to the movie. Messaging is something that should arise organically, not shoehorned in with an editorial crowbar. So, plus there's the issue of the messaging in Joker being complex enough that it can kind of be multifaceted, and different people can arrive at different conclusions based on different parts of it. So you could make the case that because the messaging is ambiguous, that means it's worse. I wouldn't. I would just say that means it's not unidirectional. But if we're judging based on message, then maybe that's a reason why it should be bad. Which is why I think we should just not judge based on message, period. But what the fuck do I know, I guess.
Birds of Prey is a more positive movie-going experience, despite its bizarre, dark comedic tone. It doesn't lack substance, but those looking for a deeper meaning in a film may walk away dissatisfied.
I think you're gonna walk away dissatisfied either way, just because Joker is complex enough that it's not a one single, this is the message and this is the moral sort of movie. It's a, here is a approximation of the world, observe it as objectively as possible from as many angles as possible, because the world doesn't fit into nice, neat little unidirectional bows here.
Mm-hmm. Joker, on the other hand, is meant to deeply analyze the psyche of a social outcast and explore why someone would do something so heinous like Arthur Fleck does by the end of the movie. It is also it also acts as a backdrop behind the backdrop of rising class tension between Gotham's workers and the rich.
Okay, you almost made it through without being a partisan hack. I was almost going to give you a compliment for not being a partisan hack. And then you hit it with classism. Okay, class is only one variable in Joker. And that was very much the point of Joker. The point of Joker was stop trying to make things fit into nice, neat little messaging boxes because the world contains multiple variables. And all of these variables are vying for substance and importance. And no variable can be plucked out and be like, this variable is definitively more important than these other variables. Jackasses. If you want to read a classism message into it, I suppose that's fine. But there are 1,000 other messages you could read into it that have nothing to do with class. And by singling out class, you're essentially invalidating all the other interpretations, which is exactly the opposite of what the movie wants you to do. From everything we know, and from what Todd Phillips said, and from what Joaquin Phoenix said, and from what the fucking story itself said, basically independently. But what the fuck, once again, do I?
Mm-hmm. Like Travis Bickle, one feels like they understand. God, they need some fucking good editors at these places. Seriously.
God damn it. Will you people who make your living from online journalism, bother to get your editing in order? I'm a
I've
schmuck.
never proofread.
Yeah, I'm a schmuck on the internet, and I occasionally make typo mistakes. But that's acceptable for me because I'm a schmuck on the internet. I don't get paid to write things. But you people, you do get paid to write things, and this still fucking happens.
Yeah. Even if they still heavily disagree and are disgusted by his actions throughout. Oh, no, wait. Got it. I missed a part. One feels like they understand the motivations by the end, even if they still heavily disagree and are disgusted by his actions throughout.
That's fair, although your classism association completely nerfed your ability to make a solid point about Joker there.
Right. Okay. Away Birds of Prey is better than Joker is no bad plot twists.
I think that's debatable.
Yeah, that actually is debate. I mean, like, there is one plot twist I think we kind of agree on that. You know, the whole relationship thing was a flaw, was not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bad.
Also, twist or no twist, the actual plot of Birds of Prey revolved around waiting for a character to shit out a diamond. So what do you like when your plot already starts out broken, you don't really need to twist it much to break it.
Yeah.
And yes, I feel like the Joker mental illness, or the Joker hallucination thing with Zazie Beetz' character was probably the weakest part of that movie, and it was unnecessary. But even though I found it unnecessary, it was still extremely well handled.
Harley Quinn's story is a straightforward romp. She breaks up with the Joker and spends the next 100 minutes trying to remove the target on her back.
And waiting for a character to shit out a diamond.
That's not
Why
mentioned here.
Why did you leave out that part, I wonder?
This turns out as a plus when compared to Joker, which features one plot twist many found silly. This, of course, referring to his dates with Sophie Dumond, turning out to be fantasies in his head. Some saw it coming from a mile away, others felt it lazy way to spice up the plot. I'm indifferent.
I mean, again, it's the weakest part of that movie, but it's not weak on its own merit. It's just kind of stupid in context.
Yeah. And that's okay. Number 3. Way Birds of Prey is worse than Joker. Doesn't stand alone as well.
In the sense that Birds of Prey is basically a direct sequel to Suicide Squad, yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Arthur Fleck's story is most likely a one and done deal. Nothing came before it, and as of now, no plans exist to continue the saga. Though
I don't think standing alone is inherently a virtue. In fact, I think in many cases, good world building can be a virtue in its own right. But I guess I get what they're saying. It's a piece unto itself rather than relying on the pre-existing, or it's more of a piece unto itself rather than relying on the pre-existing connections.
Though $1 billion at the box office will be hard to leave alone. Yeah.
And I definitely want a sequel for Joker. I know a lot of people don't, but I definitely do.
Oh, I wouldn't mind a sequel. I just think that it ended really good, and there shouldn't be plans to make one like right away.
No. Let them wait until inspiration actually strikes them again. But I dislike this notion of it's so good on its own, you don't need to meddle with it ever again. Like
Star Wars.
Yeah, have you never wanted to see a continuation of a story you like ever, people? I get very confused by that attitude. Like, if I like something, then yes, I definitely want more of it in general.
Right. Sorry. Birds of Prey is a part of the DCU and Margot Robbie's second outing as Harley Quinn. Because of this, some may feel a little lost if they go in blind. To the movie's credit, it is pretty easy to follow if one is unaware of Suicide Squad. Though one can appreciate Joker even if they never heard of the comic book character.
Although, how in the Western world you would ever grow up without hearing about Joker, I will never know.
Mm-hmm. Also, there's really no ties at all to Suicide Squad in Birds of Prey movie.
Apart from that it apparently takes place right after it and features vague allusions to the Jared Leto Joker.
Mm-hmm. Also, there was a reference to Captain Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, the hyena was cute in Birds of Prey. That's the best thing I can say about Birds of Prey.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2, something that was better in Birds of Prey than Joker, humor. Joker's not trying to be funny, and that does have comedic moments in it. That's more just environmental.
It also depends on how dark your sense of humor is. Like, speaking as someone with an extremely dark sense of humor, there's a part of me that laughs when I get to that scene where he's essentially teasing the midget. Because I have a very dark sense of humor. And it's not coming from a lack of empathy for short people, because as I've stated on this show many times, I am very short. And I have experienced the awkward sensation of having everyone around you be taller than you. So yeah, it's not a lack of empathy, it's just there's a part of me that finds that darkly humorous. I am probably fucked in the head. But this we knew already.
Mm-hmm. All right. Birds of Prey is not a lighthearted movie, but moments of levity are spread throughout.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey is a comedy.
Yeah.
But it says it's not a lighthearted movie.
Well, because it's trying to be dark. It's kind of comedy is trying to be dark comedy. The problem is, if you're looking for dark comedy, again, you can, depending on how dark you want the comedy to go, find comedy in scenes like the shooting scene in Joker. That there is another dark part of me that finds it funny when Murray is being an asshole and then he gets shot in the head. And then it was quiet.
Sorry. Just. Oh, God. I might need to spill some cool water in my face in a minute. All right. What was that? Even then, the comedy is often morbid. Joker, on the other hand, drowns the audience in oppressive tone right from the start. Like I said, there are moments of comedy in it, but it is a dark comedy sense, and also it's environmental as well. Like Arthur getting knocked into like a door at the hospital.
Mm-hmm. The whole point of Joker is essentially realizing that a life you thought was a tragedy is a comedy, so it would be weird if it didn't have some kind of dark humor to it.
Yeah. Some appreciate this, while others would have liked some contrast.
There's plenty of contrast in the movie.
Yeah. If every moment is a downer, then nothing stands out.
Did you not see either of the hallucination scenes from Arthur? The one where he's sitting on the couch watching Murray and then he fantasizes about being on Murray's show, or the Zazie Beetz character. Like, as stupid as the she's a hallucination twist is, her purpose in that movie is essentially to be the comedic or positive relief. So there's plenty of contrast.
Also, the nothing stands out thing, that's not true, because we did bring up there are moments that stand out. Granted, they're not funny, but, well, not the
Unless
typical.
you have a very, very dark sense of humor.
Yeah. So, you know. The newer film still has some brutal and unrelenting scenes, which feel heavier when one was just laughing at an inane joke 5 minutes ago. No, no one was.
Yeah, no. The problem is, again, what humor there is in Birds of Prey does not work, even though there's definitively more of it than in Joker. What little humor there is in Joker works quite effectively. And there are also layers to the humor. With Birds of Prey's humor, you know when you're supposed to be laughing because the movie hits you over the head with, this is a quip line, wham. This is it. This is a pun, wham. This is a visual gag, wham. Whereas with Joker, as we just went through, a lot of the humor is so dark as to be kind of morbid, and therefore you won't notice it unless you're actively looking. Or you just have a really, really fucked up sense of humor. Once again, hi. Then again, I thought the Saw movies were pretty funny at times, so that should tell you everything you need to know. Brainstormer, did you doze again? Hello.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Just I had to go splash some water on my face. I am back and kind of refreshed.
I just was worried you fell asleep because I, of course, don't have the ability to end the stream.
That is true. Uh, um. Okay, so moving on to the last one here, number one. Way that Birds of Prey is worse than Joker is no Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, I this is the one that I'm probably not gonna have any arguments for. Because, yeah, that's definitively true. Joaquin Phoenix is awesome, and he can make just about any movie better by his sheer existence in it. And his performance for Joker was one of his better performances. And given Joaquin Phoenix's caliber for acting, that's saying something.
Mm.
Bearing in mind that one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years was Her, which also featured Joaquin Phoenix.
Uh, Even those who bemoan Joker have to praise Joaquin Phoenix's performance as the titular character. Watching his descent is seeing a master working at his craft to full capacity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Seeing the dedication he put into the role is inspiring, making it unsurprising when he took home the Oscar. Birds of Prey is filled with great roles as well,
Is it?
but it's unlikely any of them will stand out the way Phoenix's did. They're not even in the same ballpark or not even in the same league.
like like if we were to equate the leagues of acting to distances, Joaquin Phoenix would be somewhere at the center of the earth, and Birds of Prey would be way off somewhere in a black hole, somewhere in Alpha Centauri. That is how far away from Joaquin that the every performance in Birds of Prey. I'm sorry, but that's just to put Joaquin Phoenix anywhere near the Birds of Prey actors is shaming the Birds of Prey actors and insulting Joaquin Phoenix at the same time. In fact, that might be the most abusive thing relating to Birds of Prey. That might actually qualify as abuse of women to compare Margot Robbie or any of the other actresses in Birds of Prey to Joaquin Phoenix. And even Ewan McGregor is like it's distant, like a level of distance that just can't be broached by a human being in anything resembling a human lifetime. And even though Ewan was having fun with it, he was not really doing good as the character. Whereas Joaquin made everybody who thought to themselves, there'll never be a better Joker than Heath Ledger. At least Joaquin got us all thinking. Some of us think he was the better Joker. Some of us think they're tied, and some of us just barely edge out Heath. But everyone can at least acknowledge that Joaquin Phoenix added a layer to the character that's never going to be forgotten. Unlike Jared Leto, who will be forgotten in about 5 years in his role as the Joker. As far as I'm concerned, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is on par with Mark Hamill or Heath Ledger. And he leaves Jack Nicholson in the dust. He is one of the 3 greatest Jokers we have ever had and probably will ever have. Though I enjoy every time there being a new Batman, somebody trying to method the Joker in an attempt to continuously one up each other. I enjoy that. That's kind of how we've fallen out as a universe. Every time there's a new Joker now, somebody will try to one up and out method each other, and that's great.
Okay, so before we move on, Dominic Powell says, Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips handled each other well when it came to defending the movie from those in the media that tried to smear it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Still kind of on a Gotham-like talk since we're moving on from to the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Pattinson's Batman, or Matt Reeves' The Batman that's coming out. We're obviously covering the suit reveal and stuff that's come out about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's some behind the scenes information, and we're going to cover it.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I don't think this is the right video. Hold on. Okay, I fixed it. But yeah, we are going to take a look first off at the screen test suit reveal of Rob Pattinson in the Batman suit. Simply because I think it's an awesome fucking video, and we, just a reaction kind of to it, and it follows into what we'll cover next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Batman.
No. I don't know how to do it. Anyway, banana or Batman or whatever. Okay, so it starts at 20. I like the music, and apparently that is Michael Giacchino's score for the actual Batman movie.
Okay, it doesn't seem like Giacchino is phoning it in quite as much as he did when he did Doctor Strange, so that's good.
You have so many complaints about that movie.
It's my favorite character in that respective universe. Of course, I have high standards for what that character should be.
Fair
I
enough.
want a good Doctor Strange movie before I die.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, and I like how it just has this more. It does kind of remind me of Hans Zimmer in a sense, kind of with like the Dark Knight theme, but like a
I,
little more.
I like this is more of a theme. A lot of times with Hans Zimmer's Dark Knight theme, it really sounds more like just background music. It doesn't really like the quintessential thing with a theme in a movie, and in particular like an action movie theme or a comic book movie theme, is you should be able to hum it, and you should be able to know what movie you're dealing with just from the theme. Like everyone knows the Pirates of the Caribbean theme. Everyone knows the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes theme, and so on and so on and so on. One of the things I'm annoyed with for the MCU is they hardly ever have memorable themes for their characters or for their particular franchises. But hopefully this one will stick around. Though let's be fair, I don't think anything is ever going to be the Danny Elfman theme.
I think this is kind of just what Michael Giacchino is doing with the theme is um, an evolution of Danny Elfman's theme because
Yeah,
I can kind of get the hints of that.
yeah, it definitely has touches of the Danny Elfman theme in it, which is probably the best way of going about it. Just like in future, if they ever do another Superman movie, they should try to um, adjust the Christopher Reeve theme, because nobody is ever going to stop associating that with Superman. Even Superman the animated series borrowed from the Richard Donner theme, as
Yeah,
they should.
and right. So the bat emblem because apparently that got a lot of flack.
I don't mind it because, for one thing, this is supposed to be early days for Batman. This is kind of a Batman year one sort of thing going on
Yeah,
here. So
yeah.
a lot of his tech and a lot of his gadgets are going to be kind of in their infancy, still in the research and development phase. So they're going to
Mhm.
be a little bit off brand at first.
Some people were saying like it's supposed to be like a batarang, like Robin had
Mm-hmm.
in Titans.
Yeah, which I like the idea of his suit being more tactical, because of course when you're a vigilante whose quote unquote powers come from their gadgets and shit, your first question is going to be, where do I put it all and how do I make this kind of tactical? Similar to what they did with the bat suit in the Nolan movies, how each individual piece of the bat suit was like specifically designed to be useful in specific situations. Even the glove spikes were those like throwing blade things that jettisoned out of the cuffs if you wanted them to. I like the idea of his bat symbol isn't just his symbol, it's also, oh hey, I need a batarang. Whoppa! And then throwing.
Yeah. Actually, I think in Batman: The Brave and the Bold, yeah, the emblem came off and became batarang. Not to mention, Batman always carries different all across his suit. He has compartments and stuff that he holds throwing objects or smoke pellets or whatever.
Yeah, he's like the goat from Hoodwinks. He's always prepared.
Yeah.
I
Um.
hope I hope I'm not the only one in the room that got that reference. Otherwise, I'm gonna feel a little bit silly.
Well, I'm right here. I got that reference. Also, the reveal of the Batsuit for Matt Reeves, the Batman, is actually pretty good. Yeah. I also wanted to say, like, there's also like someone posed a theory. Don't know who originally said it, but it might be the gun that killed Bruce's parents
I,
forged into the emblem.
Yeah, I like the idea that he like melted down that gun and turned it into his first batarang. That's very interesting.
No, it's not even the first batarang. It's just his emblem is the gun that killed his parents.
Well, I also think it's probably detachable and works as a batarang. So
Yeah, because I can kind of see where it splits off.
Yeah,
between the
I
wings.
kind of like the idea that he found that guy, he spared him, and then he took the gun and he melted it down into like his first proto batarangs.
Also, if it is technically gonna and it is just the emblem, then that's referencing a Kevin Smith run of Batman that did the same thing.
Which, side note, why does no one ever call Kevin Smith? He can make movies. Why does no one ever consult him on like how to do geek shit better? Because he's good with geek shit.
I mean, he did direct some of the better episodes of The Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and we're getting like a little look at like the torso, like the upper body, right here, and I like it. It's tactical, but it also kind of has a comic book like feel too.
Mm-hmm. The only problem I can see at this point is kind of the build of Robert Pattinson himself, but presumably he's going to hit the gym a fuck ton between now and when he actually does the thing. So my issues with him not filling it out probably will be rectified
Right.
um by the time we get there. And also we can see in the um in the thing we're going to cover next that his suit is kind of weighed down with some padding. So and unlike the Shazam padding, which served no purpose in universe, the padding that he's using is like a tactical sort of military style padding. So
Mm-hmm.
that will work, I suppose.
Banana.
Batnana.
Banana.
Wait a minute. Is that sounding like the Imperial March from Star Wars to you, or am I just completely spacing?
I thought it sounded like Danny Elfman's like like how the crescendo of that theme goes.
Right, but it really, especially at that tempo, reminds me of the Imperial March from Star Wars. Dun 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 dun
I
dun
think
dun
you're hearing
dun
that, buddy,
dun.
because I haven't heard it. Might just be me. I'm not entirely sure.
Or it might just be that we're both sleep deprived as fuck, and we shouldn't be judging these things right now.
Right. I'm not sure. I know there were like people complaining about this thing, like how it looks too. It doesn't look great. Obviously, I can make the argument that it's like a prototype bat suit. It's still in the works. It hasn't.
And it mimics like Golden Age style Batman, so I'm totally fine with this.
Does it?
Yeah, the only thing it's really missing is the purple gloves.
It's probably never going to happen. You know that, right?
I want the purple gloves, goddammit. It's like the initial it's like the initial like 1938 or 39 run of Batman. He was wearing purple gloves, and I've been waiting for years for somebody to fucking reference the purple gloves. I'm getting the purple gloves before I die. God damn it.
All right. Um. Yeah, I like it a lot. I remember someone though mentioning that it kind of reminded them of Daredevil, like they still looked at Daredevil because of the red lighting and stuff.
I don't know if they stole it so much as if you do a street level superhero on that kind of budget and make it look kind of primitive, it's gonna end up looking that way regardless, especially with the ears.
It is the joke, you know.
Yeah.
Um, though they never showed the ears in this video, if I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Yeah. Um, but again, I like how it all looks. I like how the cape kind of comes over, kind of become like kind of a collar kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cal's
I
not
do.
bad either.
Yeah, I do kind of like the idea, and we'll see this in the like behind the scenes images that most of the time he's not wearing the cape, and maybe the cape is like a last minute addition to his look.
Well, I honestly think because we'll get more into that. I'll talk more in depth with it. Let's just finish this video.
Mm-hmm. Bat Nana.
Banana. I honestly think this movie's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I hope it's good, and I hope it's good enough to make everybody forget about the misfire that was the Affleck incarnation. No disrespect whatsoever to Ben Affleck. He did an amazing job, but he had nothing to work with, and the world building in his franchise was shit.
Yeah. Okay. Bring this up. All right. This is from Bounding the Comics by J.B. Augustine. Uh, the Batman new set photos reveal Robert Pattinson's full bat suit and bat cycle. This was published February 21st, 2020.
Mhm.
All right, moving down. Following director Matt Reeves' unveiling of the new batsuit worn by Robert Pattinson in The Batman, we now have our clearest look yet at the new suit.
I like that it almost has like a steampunky vibe to it, almost like it's a period piece.
Right. Hold on. I'm trying to. Okay. A batch of photos from the set just leaked to the web. They show Patterson or a stuntman in the suit, which is more like armor and riding on a new bat cycle or bat bike. Take a gander at the images below. I think that is a stuntman. As much as I like, as much as I do like an actor actually doing stunts, I do understand why they would have a stuntman in a costume.
Yeah,
Um, I think a lot of people use this as a way of like trashing how the movie's going to be bad or something.
like okay, they would have to make some special mistakes to make it anywhere near as bad as BVS or Man of Steel. So I'm
Yeah,
I, I'm open to this one being good. And given um Matt Reeves' track record, I suspect this will be good, especially because he's come right out and said his two biggest influences for this movie are the Year One comic and the Long Halloween. So totally game for this.
hmm
A person who actually respects and knows shit about the material is dealing with the material now. One would think that would be a given, but sadly, in the world in which we live, that is not a given, and that makes me a sad panda.
Mhm. Yeah, so this first image obviously is the stuntman on the bike. It, and I have to admit, the suit's not great, but I don't. But again, it's mostly just like padded and armored and stuff for the stuntman to be all right. And probably the helmet, the cowl is actually a helmet because it looks a lot different from the actual cowl we saw, which looked more like leather. This looks more like well, like an actual helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, like it even has lenses on the eyes.
And also, let's be fair here. One of the reasons why they might have shown us the stuntman filling out the suit first is because Robert Pattinson is still working on filling out the suit. And so when he gets into better shape, we'll see more of him actually in the suit, I would imagine.
Yeah. And I did want to mention the whole cape thing. Is probably that if anything, it's so it wouldn't like catch on the wheels or anything for the stunt.
Yeah, CG. They'll probably CG it in when all is said and done.
Yeah, that's a normal thing that happens. I mean, you can't really expect.
Yeah, they did that a lot with the Cloak of Levitation in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and it looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving down. Yeah, this is a stuntman. That is not Robert Pattinson. Like the chin looks all off and stuff.
His jawline is different too. Robert Pattinson has a very distinctive kind of
Yeah,
sharp, glassy jaw.
plus plus the stuntman does look bulkier in the suit and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which hopefully Robert Pattinson will try to emulate when it's his go, because I don't want another Shazam situation where like it's very obvious that Zachary Levi wasn't physically trying to fill out the role.
But I'm assuming that most of this does look like the actual suit.
Yes.
Minus the cowl, obviously.
Yeah. It if anything, it will probably actually look better when it's Robert Pattinson wearing the suit, because of course they often cut corners and put less effort into stunt suits.
Yeah, that's normal. Though I do want to mention like the gauntlets.
Mm-hmm.
I like how the spikes look on the sidearms. I'm just not entirely sure of how the actual gauntlets look. You know, like what's on them.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things you should have to wait for a better shot to see how they actually work. I kind of hope they'll borrow from Chris Nolan and have it be blades be the things that stick out.
Yeah. I do like the utility belt. I do hope by the end of the film or something they color that out, because I do dislike the whole it's all black kind of thing, because you have to have those certain elements to
Contrast is important. But again, it's important to remember that this is kind of a proto Batman suit, so
yeah, that's why I said by the end of the movie.
Yeah, over the course of the franchise, he'll probably upgrade slowly, so it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the suit doesn't look too bad. It just looks more made for a stuntman.
Mm-hmm. Which
in these photos
is probably because they put less effort into there's a similar picture of Brie Larson in sort of Captain Marvel armor on the streets in like a position where she's reading the newspaper. It looks a lot less good in the behind the scenes photo than it does when she's actually wearing it in the movie, because it's a different
because
suit.
That was also something I wanted to bring up, is that shoots look a lot different when they're put on camera instead of like the actual real world photos.
Well, it's also the fact of, especially in the early shooting, a lot of times they'll use different models of suit just to see how the suit moves and figuring out what they need to change and what they need to draw in or take out to make it fit better.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a few comments here. Dominic Powell, I'm curious to see what the final product of the movie will look like. In the meantime, have you two seen Sonic the Hedgehog? No, we have not.
I have it is good.
Well, I have not. I've never really intended to because I've never really been a big Sonic fan. So,
I am looking forward to a sequel where hopefully it will take place more in Sonic's dimension. And
mm,
I'm glad I'm hoping we get a sequel just so we can see Jim Carrey go full Eggman Robotnik. I need that in my life because he did an amazing job in the movie, but he was kind of proto Robotnik for most of the movie. So to see him go full Robotnik will be amazing if we get a sequel. We
mm.
need to get a sequel to that movie.
Ahsoka Tano Gaming has returned, saying the bat suit looks okay. Yeah, and shading as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. Honestly, there's really nothing that has like shown me any um, reason not to like look forward to this movie.
Some of the choices for actor make me question them, but so, somehow I think making some unorthodox choices will actually benefit the movie.
Hmm. A video also shows Batman wiping out as he drives through the rainy graveyard.
I like the idea of Batman in a graveyard. That's something we've not really seen a whole lot of in the movies, as well as Batman actually embracing his detective nature, which is not something we get to see very often in movies either.
Yeah. All right, let me see if I can do this. No, I'm not sure if this movie or just a stuntman fail. Either way, it looks like it hurts.
Yeah, and it, this movie is at least probably going to be this movie looks like it's at least as good as like Wonder Woman. If they can make a Batman movie that's as good as that, I think everyone will be happy.
Hmm.
And Matt Reeves, like I said, seems to be an actual fan of the character and seems to be an actual comic nerd. So fingers crossed, we actually have someone who gives a shit about the IPs in charge of those IPs for once. Yay.
Hmm. Dominic Powell. It's more than likely the next two movies are going to be based on the original Sonic trilogy.
I like the way you think.
Um, it appears rumors uh, they were going with a tactical, realistic design based on Batman Noel were true. The suit shown is very much in the vein of Lee Bermejo's Yuletide graphic novel. Plain, uh, plating and the bat symbol are fairly similar.
Noel. Interesting poll. And if I honestly, if Matt Reeves can pull this off, make him the Kevin Feige of the DCEU because he seems to have that passion for the material that most people who have worked for DC so far have not, aside from Todd Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
And look how
Um,
that turned out.
uh, though I remember seeing a video by Professor Geek about mentioning that the suit for Batman Noel w- wouldn't work in this case because the story behind that suit.
Well, it seems like they're taking influences from a lot of places, like um they're taking from Year One, they're taking from the Golden Age version, they're taking a little bit, I think, from Gotham by Gaslight, and of course now Batman Noel. So it seems like they're taking kind of a hodgepodge of all the more atypical, more low tech, more archetypical Batman suits and throwing them in a blender and seeing what sticks. And that is an interesting way of going about it.
Mhm. Additionally, the cowl has lenses, so he might get treated to the classical white eyes other rumors promised. I'm not so sure about that. It looks more of like, again, that's for the stuntman than
I,
anything.
I wouldn't mind there being lenses in this version of the bat suit, but I kind of like the idea of just making them lenses and not the white eyes. Like there's no reason to have the eyes be like glowing, or it doesn't have to be like the Tom Holland Spider-Man suit. Um, I kind of like the idea of just um like lenses like goggles because it brings to mind kind of Golden Age and also Gotham by Gaslight, which is a great Batman story, and actually I think the only Batman story I own aside from Batman Spawn, which was my very first comic that I ever bought.
Yeah. The suit is a bit bulkier than expected. Pattinson looked rather lean in the tuberosely lit red lighting and filter of the test footage, although as a refresher for comparison. Um, yeah, like Dolan said, he's probably going to be working his ass off to get bulked up. Um, all in all, it looks pretty good. And Dominic Powell says, hopefully, we have more creative people who genuinely care about the original source material of any comic and its characters as they work on movies based on them.
As just a general rule, if you're working on an intellectual property, you should give a shit about that intellectual property. This isn't rocket surgery or brain science. If you want to adapt X, you should actually know and care about X.
Mm-hmm. If it's Pattinson in the suit or stunt double is unconfirmed, but look close and you'll notice the person has black dots on his chin. While it could be mud or something, strategically marked dots are used in the rendering process for visual effects. This indicates they might digitally superimpose Pattinson's chin on his double in post-production.
Yeah, because Robert Pattinson has a very distinctive face.
Yeah. The location they ride the cycles indicates another reported detail. They are in a cemetery and seem to be going over or rehearsing something. Reportedly, there is a funeral scene, according to Reddit spoilers, where the mayor of Gotham is laid to rest and the Riddler crashes the proceedings with a bomb.
Okay, you have my attention, movie. That sounds very interesting. It, it reminds me of the scene from The Dark Knight with the judge, Where Am I Going? Opens envelope up, explode.
Mm-hmm. Stunt in which Bruce Wayne suits up and gives chase to an escaping criminal could be what they're working on. All will be revealed when Batman reaches theaters in the summer of 2021. What do you think of the new Batsuit now that you have a good look at it? Tell us down below.
Wait, summer of 2021?
Yep.
When in summer of 2021? I'm gonna be pissed if this ends up competing with Doctor Strange 2. What is the release date for Matt Reeves the Batman?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Let me look it up.
Because if they try to counter program Doctor Strange with the Batman, that's not gonna go well for my boy. And my boy needs every benefit he can get.
June 25th, 2021.
Okay, so like 2 months after Doctor Strange 2 comes out, then that's fine.
All right.
That's a usual interval for comic book movies to come out between each other, so fine.
Dominic Powell says you're not wrong. It's definitely not rocket science.
It should be a given in a world that made sense, but unfortunately, in this world, we have to deal with humans, and humans are fucking jackasses sometimes. There is an apocalyptic meteor when you need one. Brainstormer.
Sorry, I was just setting up the next topic.
Okay.
Okay, so we have covered a little bit about this, and I'm sure you guys are fans too. We will be reacting / reviewing the trailer for Castlevania Season 3 coming out on Netflix, I believe, in March.
I believe so. Although presumably they will tell us the date when the trailer is finished, like they usually do. Coming to Netflix in insert time period here.
Right. Me and Dalton have seen the first two seasons already.
I did a video discussing the occult underpinnings of Castlevania Season 1. I haven't done Season 2 yet. I'm going to as soon as I feel up to it. But that's not going to be today because, again, running on 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, since me and Dalton are kind of starting to die out here in terms of consciousness, we are going to have to skip an article, Mary Sue article, and move on to the last one, and then that's going to be kind of it for us. Sorry, guys.
We can shove the Mary Sue article to next week though, because we wouldn't want to deprive you of watching us at the Mary Sue. So next week.
Yeah. So we'll get through this, and then we'll get through the other article, and that's going to be it for us, guys. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
When both of us are fucking exhausted, it does not a good show make, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. Blood.
Blood, Nana.
Blood Nana. I feel like I should look that up to see if it's an actual thing, like a blood banana.
Well, a blood orange is definitely a thing.
I know that. I'm just curious if there's any other type of blood fruit.
Blood fruit. That sounds like something that would exist in the SCP universe.
Mm-hmm. Shall we?
We shall. Blood Nana.
Blood Nana.
Dracula's dead. By my hand. In the hand of a speaker.
That was a lot in 20 seconds.
That was quite a bit. It's good to see Alucard not completely going insane, as far as we know yet.
Mm-hmm.
So the way season two did Alucard was just a dirty thing. Alucard needs all the hugs, all of them.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. Are you like a big fan of the Castlevania games, or?
I am quite a fan of the Castlevania games. Mostly the early ones. I'm not a fan of the secondary timeline. Because of course there's a secondary timeline and it's not good. Like there's an alternate timeline of the Castlevania games where Dracula is actually an ancient Belmont, and Trevor is Alucard. I find this timeline to be very, very stupid. But as far
Okay.
as like the main line Castlevania timeline goes, I'm quite a big fan of it. It and even though I wasn't quite prepared for how deep Castlevania the anime was going to go into Castlevania lore, but god damn am I happy they did.
Okay. So my question is, this monster right here in this frame. I mean, I realize that they do it in a more detailed fashion.
Wait, which flame which frame my screen went black?
Oh, it's right at the beginning. It's a multiplied monster with like green, glowing, mossy hair.
Okay, that one. I don't remember it from the games, but it doesn't mean there wasn't one.
Right.
I'm curious if we're going to get Camilla's skull form is the big thing I'm hoping for in the games. Also, somebody bring in Grant and Esty already. The fact that we haven't gotten Grant or Esty already is annoying.
Could you please explain those two characters briefly? Because I believe I saw one of them.
One is like a thief, the other is a spy character, I'm thinking. I know Grant is a thief. I don't remember what Esty's like class was. Because we got Alucard, we've got Trevor, and we've got Sypha, but we don't have Grant or Esty.
Mm-hmm. So we have a monster attacking a church. So, and obviously, Trevor saying that, well, not Trevor,
Alucard.
Alucard, saying Dracula is dead. I assume since Dracula is dead, it's kind of become a free for all from the vampires to the demons and stuff.
Probably, but he'll be back. He's always back. I'm curious if we're waiting until the end of the season to get Dracula back. Like my thinking is they're going to use the eclipse like they always do in the games. Because the way it works in the game is whenever Dracula is dead, there's essentially a cult of Dracula that I believe in the games was started by Isaac. That essentially makes it their mission to resurrect Dracula every time there's one particular magical eclipse. And my thinking is they're probably going to use something similar in the show, because believe it or not, even though they changed some stuff, the anime is very close to the actual game lore for the most part.
Mm-hmm. You know, this is something I'm sure you've thought about a lot, Dalton, but Alucard is very beautiful.
I mean, yes.
Wow.
But not my type.
Oh yeah, yours are big lumbering oafs.
Well, I mean, when you put it like that, you make it sound unappealing, but basically.
So we have a character here fighting Alucard. It could be one of the other two characters, or another one from a different game.
I'm interested to see how much of a time jump we have, because of course they left off with season 2 with Sippa and Trevor going off to essentially see the world and fight evil and whatnot, and presumably Sippa is going to avail herself of a grimoire and actually write down her spells, hopefully. But of course, everyone who is even vaguely aware of Castlevania thinks not of Trevor Belmont, but of Simon Belmont. And since Alucard is functionally immortal, or at least extremely long-lived, he could just not have aged in the 200 or so years between the time of Trevor and the time of Simon, assuming that they
Wait.
set Simon's time in the 1800s like they always do.
What doesn't what they did say that Alucard aged quicker.
He gets to adulthood quicker, and then he basically stops.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he really is a bratty teenager.
Yes.
Huh.
In the body of a 14th century male model, apparently.
Yeah. This looks like a. Honestly, I don't even know if this is a guy or a gal. I can't tell. But yeah, either way, it looks like a really cool sword fight scene going on.
Yeah, and as we know, Alucard is very good with a sword, and also freezing. I can't believe I just freezing to myself unintentionally. Normally, I intend to do things like that.
Right, and here is Sypha.
Yeah, Sypha.
Flying by shooting fire from her hands.
I hope we get to see more from her magic-wise than just elemental stuff. Not that I don't like her elemental things, and I did an entire segment on it when I did my retrospective of Castlevania Season 1, but, like, she's got to know how to do other shit. And I guess we did get the Enochian invocation to open the door of death in Season 2, and we did get her immobilizing the Platonic difference engine that runs Dracula's castle. But I want to see more diverse spell work from her, especially now that she presumably has access to all of Dracula's knowledge and all of the Belmont's knowledge. And if we don't get at least one scene of her geeking out of the library again this season, I'm going to be annoyed.
Mm-hmm. I am curious, storytelling-wise, maybe they could do it where Alucard is fighting the person we just saw, and the adventure between Sypha and Trevor are taking at totally different points.
I wouldn't be in favor of telling the story out of order, but
No, not out of order. Simply in two different times.
I mean, you could do that, but I more like sort of linear storytelling.
Well, no, it's like you said, like Alucard could be
sped ahead a couple of centuries, whereas Sypha and Trevor are still back in the 14th or 15th, I think, is where they're set.
Yeah.
Because it like the monologue or the prologue of episode 1 of Castlevania, according to the year we see in the flashback where he meets his wife, whose name I have spontaneously forgotten, Lisa, where Dracula meets Lisa. Apparently that takes place in the exact year that the historical Vlad Dracula died. So yeah, I find that interesting.
Hmm.
So either we're very late 14th century or very early 15th in the current time of Trevor and Sypha.
Let's see. Okay. Blood Nana.
Blood and Nana.
Hand of a speaker. And the hand of the last of the Belmonts.
The humans are in complete chaos.
Good boy.
Hiding in villages, being picked up by night creatures. We enclose this corridor and drink all the humans forever.
The human race is poisoned.
Oh hey, Isaac. I wasn't expecting to see him so quickly.
Yeah. So Carmilla is taking over for Vlad as kind of like the main antagonist.
Essentially, she's being a power-hungry bitch, as Camillus wants to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm curious how long Hector is gonna allow himself to be her pet, because this is the thing. I'm waiting for a scene equivalent to this, because in season 2 we learned that forged creatures are loyal to the forged master, not the person who the forged master works for. So what's stopping Hector from essentially making her army and then being like, you know how you made me make you an army? And you know how they're loyal to me? Well, fuck you, bitch, and so on. I'm waiting for him to backstab her, even though Hector is the nicer of the two Forge Masters. I'm waiting for Carmilla to get hers, mostly because A, she needs to get hers in the context of the show, and B, she needs to die or something so we can get her skull form. Because her skull form is kind of important in the games.
Let's see. Okay. But yeah, and I think if anything, that Isaac, who I think was one of the better, is well, Hector is the nicer of the two. I think in terms of writing and storytelling, Isaac is the better of the two.
Yeah, they kind of nerfed Hector and turned him into a massive idiot towards the end there. Whereas Isaac's whole "I'm sublimating my feelings for other people by projecting them onto you, Dracula" thing was interesting.
Mm-hmm. I'm just very curious to see where this goes because there's no way I'm going to guess simply because I don't want to spoil it for myself. Anyway, shall we?
Blood Nana.
Blood Nana.
Business and corrupt, and should be wiped off the world. One day hell will be emptied and its doors will rattle in the wind.
Do you have a suggestion?
Let me take care of it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm a simple man with simple pleasures.
Hector or Trevor, you are still funny.
Yeah.
Kind of a moron, but you're funny.
You gotta applaud the writers, not just for like the Trevor thing, but for what Isaac said. What was it? Something I can't remember.
It was basically, I'm continuing the work of fucking up humanity's shit for Dracula's memory. More or less.
Yeah, here it is. One day hell will be emptied and its doors will rattle in the wind.
It actually reminds me of a line from William Shakespeare's The Tempest. One of the first lines in the play is when the ship when Prospero has Ariel attack the ship, the Prince of Denmark yells out, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here." So if that was an intentional reference to the Tempest, well done. If not, then you should make it one, because that's a waste of a reference.
Either way, it's a badass line.
It is a good line. There is a reason why it resembles something from Shakespeare. If it wasn't intentional, which I'm almost sure it was, because I don't think the writers of Castlevania would let a line like that stand without making it a reference to something.
Mm-hmm. Blood Nana.
Blood Nana.
Simple pleasures.
It's bloody chaos out there. Kill them all.
Okay, what was it? Yeah, for one thing, and I like this, and I like the music that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I wanted to say is that the music was kind of a weak point for the first season. Started to get better in the second.
Yeah, the music has never been particularly memorable for the Castlevania show. The Castlevania games, on the other hand, are a very different story. And the main theme of the Castlevania show is actually pretty good. But aside from that,
Yeah. But I think if they were to use music like this for the trailer, from the trailer, like if that's any indication at all,
yeah,
it's getting better.
yeah, they might have done with an upgrade, and that's great, because I actually thought that despite the fact that season 2 was good, I didn't think it was as good as season 1. So hopefully season 3 will be the best season yet.
Mhm.
Hopefully.
My favorite scene would be the forging scene.
The scene with Hector forging the creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was anytime the Forge Masters are doing their thing, it's pretty awesome.
Yep. All right.
Though the best line in regards to forging is still from Godbrand when he goes to get Isaac, and he basically says, what was the line? It was really, really funny, and it made me laugh hysterically. Now get up off the floor and do your filthy human magic with it. Oh, Godbrand.
Yeah.
It's a shame you died like a bitch. Even though it was funny how you died like a bitch.
Yeah, I had something, but I forgot. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say.
I mentioned Godbrand. Maybe that will jog your...
No, it was something else. Damn it. It'll come back to me. All right. Blood now.
Blood Nana.
Forge Master. We bring hell to this abandoned earth. Cypher, do you have my back?
Always.
March 5th.
Okay, so next week then, right?
Yes.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm excited.
I also am
Right.
excited. I think
Right.
the Castlevania anime is one of the best things Netflix has made. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Right, right. I just remember what I was going to say. I remember seeing like there were different versions of vampires, and we got a little bit of that from the second season too,
hmm
because there are different mythologies for vampires.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we're going to be if we're going to start tackling like different like versions and different like factions of vampires.
It would make sense. They didn't really touch on that much in the games, but I see no reason why they wouldn't in the show.
Yeah, it just makes sense, and it really would be cool. Plus, it's educational in a sense. They get to learn how different cultures.
Viewed vampires.
Yeah,
And it gives me more stuff to grade them on. So yeah, if that's the route you want to go, Castlevania writers, I'm all for it. And you will get points for your accuracies.
right.
For your inaccuracies, I shall flog you over a post, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh man, I am about ready to pass out.
Yeah, me too.
I think we're gonna say the two articles we have for next week. I'm sorry, folks. We are really tired.
Yeah, it's been a long. Okay, backstory for why I am so fucking tired. If you guys don't know the channel According to Christy, I highly recommend you subscribe to her. But more to the point, last night she did a random stream because she was bored, and it was one of the most hilarious and amazing streams I've ever been part of. So I was up till 5 o'clock in the morning just waiting for that stream to end so that I didn't miss anything. And that was horrible mistake number one. So yeah.
I worked 6 hours for 4 days. Well, actually, I work I work a lot. I work a lot of hours. So yeah. Plus, I didn't go to bed until 5 because I have a real hard time sleeping.
I find it weird that even our sleep patterns tend to mirror each other.
Yeah, it's really weird. All right, folks, we are going to call it a night and wish you all a good weekend, a good week. See you next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Fuck off.